All right, well, I'm at Unicorn Lane at Schumann, and I'm not going to explore Unicorn Lane today, but I'm going to go down to the next street over to the UFO landing pad, as I call it. This is the UFO safe house with some very strange graffiti on the back, which I'll explore another time. But from the UFO landing pad over here, which is this strange street shaped like and parallel to just north of Unicorn, we have Carly. And yeah, strangely, oddly, no houses on this particular street. But you can kind of see why it would make a good, I don't know, maybe a helicopter landing pad. To me, seems more likely a UFO landing spot. You can see where people have been in here doing donuts. It's got to be a temptation, I understand. There's usually a Wi-Fi signal in here too, coming from some surrounding property. The brown flags are sanitary or sewer. The yellow ones, I think, are gas. And then street or true north is Somerset, where which is one of my childhood homes. Some of my earliest, most pleasant childhood memories. Some of my most disturbing childhood memories come from those days. We're coming up on Hively. Which I have noted before has interesting alien calligraphy. Here, let's explore some of it on the road. Possibly having to do with the UFO landing pad, if this is indeed some kind of extraterrestrial language, their calligraphy or something along those lines. Not sure what it says. I don't read this particular language, but it is decorative. It's interesting. I like it. It's been the subject of photographs for quite a few times. It's Tinkham Elementary, where once they built it, I went there. These were all like wooded areas and swampland. Where we got into mischief. And war games. We older kids abused me and my brother, trapped us in a prisoner of war pit with a rusty bed springs over a pit that they dug, set the woods on fire, and then the fire department had to come in and rescue us and put the woods out. Put the fire out. So now, if I'm not mistaken, 33466 would have been where we lived. And this tree was struck by lightning at some point. I realize people are living here now, so I don't want to bother them. But I would like to get a photo of the property from across the street, or from the property to across the street, to match one that a childhood photo I have, which I believe would have been taken from, and pardon me folks for walking on your lawn, possibly right in about here. So let's match it to the photo I have posted on YouTube and see. So it would have been more like this. Looks like the tree wasn't there for this photo. Actually, the angle would have been something like this. And yeah, that's definitely the house across the street. Maybe the photo was from about here. Front porch type area. Yeah, that makes sense. And so, yeah, I think it was either there or there that family called the Beavers lived, and their two boys are, from what I hear, in federal penitentiary now. And it's no surprise, because they were troublemakers. They dragged me into the woods down there one time with a bunch of older boys, and for some kind of adventure, and then they turned on me suddenly once we were out of sight, and pinned me up against a tree, and then picked up this big sharpened log and pressed it against my chest. Told me they were gonna kill me, so that was fun. And I believe they were some of the instigators of the forest fire war games. And the Hebshes lived next door, and I remember a story about one of these houses having some go-go dancers who lived in it, and some of the mothers, the wives of the street, were upset because they would leave their front blinds open, and some of the husbands were getting free titty shows, and that didn't make the women happy. So yeah, I think my dad, was he tattooing at this point? I'm not sure if he started tattooing here on Somerset, or on Stellwagen, but he was riding motorcycles at this point, and he tells the story of having been on the front lawn at a low weight period of his life where he was doing speed for weight loss and staying up all night, just tearing apart his motorcycle with floodlights and putting it back together for no apparent reason. And the neighbors complaining because he was had the yard lit up at all hours of the night. constantly ride back. Well, hey, there's more, you know, there's more alien calligraphy on this street too. So I should document some of that because it is relevant to this story. I've been fascinated with UFOs for most of my life. From a child. Always wanted to see a UFO and never did. I've seen them in my dreams, but never saw a UFO in real life. Unless they're repressed memories. Because apparently that happens. They'll abduct you and then mess around with you. By some accounts, they'll serve you pancakes. By some accounts, they diddle with you sexually. And then they put you back and erase the memory. And then you wake up and you've got 3 hours, 4 hours of missing time that you can't account for. So we're back on Schumann, and that was part of my early childhood. We'll go back down Somerset here. You know, my memories are weird because I seem to recall this being a dead end, but obviously the dead end is back there. But I do remember, you know, the woods where all this trouble happened, where a group of boys took me and my brother and some of the littler kids, a group of boys being led by the Beavers, who lived in maybe that house. Looks familiar. Red bricks, the porch, down to the woods here, and tricked us into what would have to be called oral sex. And my memories of it were not sexual. My memories are more like, oh, you mean kids, bastards. You tricked us into doing something nasty. And I wonder if they even had an idea of it being sexual, but one thought is that they were probably abused. Because these kind of things are handed down generationally. This bad stuff. And there's one story from 1967 where a girl's body, a dead body, was found back here while we were living down here, surrounded by empty airplane glue tubes, which created a public awareness campaign among the Wayne Westland School District. And I remember my mother sitting me down one day and asking, have you ever sniffed glue? To which I was confused because all I could think of was Elmer's white glue. And a weird kid in class who used to eat paste. So I'm like, well, no, I know what glue smells like. It's that, you know, the Elmer stuff, but I've never sniffed it. Should I? And hey, they've blocked the property off. One can no longer ride through the property to Vinoy. That's disappointing. This used to be one of my shortcuts. Doggone it. But yeah, there used to be a swing set back here, in between, strategically placed in between Somerset and my classrooms, and I'd be late for class because I could not resist playing on the swing set, you know, on the way to school. And they had to send a note home, say, hey, your kid is not walking straight to school. He's late every day, so whip him into shape. So yeah, crap. I was going to do a little video segment here involving Tinkham Elementary, which is now a STEP facility. I'm not exactly sure what STEP stands for, but Google it. So the only way I can get over to Vinoy and Tinkham is Trafalgar Square Plaza. There's a few raindrops starting to fall. My weather app's radar made it look like it wasn't going to be very serious. Otherwise, I'd be heading straight home. But there's a few raindrops on my eyeglasses right now, so I hope it isn't impeding the lens of my GoPro camera mounted on my forehead. And the sprinkles are getting more frequent, which is a little worrying. I mean, I'm not afraid of getting wet. I'm not going to melt, but it's inconvenient getting wet. And if it wrecks my videotaping of my little childhood saga, that will annoy me. Steps services to enhance potential. Dealing with mentally handicapped children and teenagers and possibly adults, I'm not sure. You can see where the old letters that's red. Matthew E. Tinkham School, elementary school. Used to be, but no longer are. So let's do our little ride around the school property. Aw, doggone it. The gate isn't going to stop this cat from getting under it, but it's going to stop me. So I wonder if they've completely enclosed the area. I wonder if around the other side it's going to be the same story. I guess I'll find out. Masks are now optional. Effective 4/4/2022. So got my fingers crossed, and it looks like I'm disappointed because they have indeed put the fence all the way around it. They've turned former Tinkham school into a little fortress, to a little concentration camp. Ain't nobody getting back there unless you're authorized, you got the key. So yeah, I don't know. It's a little, there's a we call a beekeeping thing. There's a word for it that's escaping me, eluding me at the moment. A beehive haven. I feel dumb for not being able to remember the word for it. But yeah, there's a bunch of hives that they supposedly maintain. It always looks overgrown, so I don't know how much attention it gets. But if it's helping the bees pollinate stuff, that's a good thing. So they're important to the ecological balance and whatnot. So this footage is happening before work, and I've got a client scheduled in at 2 or 1:30, so I've got to get back home, get ready for work. Let's get one final turnaround shot here from Vinoy, and hightail it back home in case the rain gets too intense.